All right, so today's interview is with April Lynn. She is a Haughton based fantasy writer who has published her first book recently and is having a book signing and meet the artist event. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but we're going to start that interview and I'll have a commercial break somewhere in the middle of it. So just bear with me when we get to it. And at the end, I'll give you guys a little more information about that event. Yeah, so enjoy, guys. It's a great interview. Hello, I'm Brittney Hazelton, and this is ArkLaTex Artistry, where we explore the arts in our area. Today's guest is a Haughton native and writer who is holding a book signing for her new fantasy novel. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm April Lynn and from Haughton, and I have written When Fate Collides, which is the first book of probably a 3 or 4 book series.
Very nice. So yes, so you're having a book signing. When is that event? And then tell us a little bit about your book.
So my book signing is November 15th at PJ's on Airline Drive in Bossier City at 11 o'clock. I did not put an end time. It's kind of go. I will have a small limited number of books available for sale, or if you've already went and purchased it, you can bring those. I'll be glad to sign it for you, and actually would be excited to meet you guys, anybody that's heard my story. And I actually wrote When Fate Collides. Probably been working on it, I guess, technically about 6 years.
Wow.
But it's kind of ironic because I started in a different character's point of view, and I got stuck on chapter 11, and I'm like, I didn't want to do multiple point of views because I'm like, that's not, first of all, I never wanted to be a writer, like ever. That was never a dream. Like, I know most people say, oh, I've always dreamed about it. I never did. I just wanted to write a story that was
Aw.
different than what I was reading. And I didn't think that I was good enough to write because English was never my best subject. It was actually
Yeah.
not that great. So
I mean, to
it took
I understand. To be fair, English has never been my best subject, but I also do writing too. So,
I know, isn't that
it,
crazy?
yeah, it's crazy. You just kind of
But
fall into it.
it did. I didn't think that I would love it so much, to be completely honest. Like, I fell in love with it. I found something that I didn't even think I would like, and I kept
Oh,
going. But when I stopped writing in Mason, which is my male main character's point of view, when I stopped writing into his, I actually didn't write for probably about a year and a half, maybe 2 years at
oh,
the most. But there was a lady at work who, by the way, y'all owe her everything for me getting back into writing, because every day she would literally say, April, did you write today? Did you write today? Girl, leave me alone. I did not write.
oh
So I
man.
started writing to get I started
It's
writing again to get her off my back. And I'm glad she pushed me.
sometimes that's what it takes when it comes to being an artist is you need somebody to encourage you a little bit and keep pushing you, especially when it comes to writing. Because I'm the same way. Like, I'm stuck on chapter 9 and my stuff. And it's like, okay, eventually I'll get over this, like, huge arc and eventually
Absolutely.
keep
And you
going.
will.
But, like,
And when you get over it, man, you're going to love it. You're going to be like, oh, okay, great. And you're not ever going to want to stop. You'll want to eat, sleep, drink, everything. You'll even like, work, is it interfering with my writing?
so I gotta ask, what is the story kind of like overall about, and where did the idea come from for you?
So the story is actually about a 17-year-old girl who is a hybrid. She's like basically half witch, half uh, wolf, shifter
Oh, cool.
is what we call them in my book. And basically, she is the daughter of the Witch King, the Crimson Coven, and her father and family, coven, everybody, they believe that shifters are the worst thing in the world, that,
Oh.
you know, absolutely no good can come from it, and you can't hold any type of title. And she was the center of her dad's world. She's the only girl to four, and he's got four other kids, so, you know, she's the only girl. But there's
Oh.
a lot of family secrets and things that come out. She shifts at a very early age, and from then he does everything in his power to suppress the wolf and to erase
Mm.
her and everything like that. And she ends up running away. And when she runs away, she runs into what she would believe would be enemy territory, the shifters pack, the land. And she, she knows she has a fated mate, and she's always been led to believe that people like her, they don't have fated mates. It would be a curse. She was always led to
Oh.
believe she was a curse. So she's got to overcome that and learn to accept who she is before she can ever accept the fated mate bond. So,
Oh. That's really cool.
and I think it's going to be great, because I fell in love with it. I actually written it because I was into reading that kind of fantasy, you know, and I don't
Yeah.
know if you're aware of those pay by chapter apps. It's same
Oh.
old, same old. And I was
I
like,
think I've encountered them once or so a long time ago.
yes. I got into them through some Facebook ads, and they'll get you every time, so stay
Mm.
away from that. But most of them, most of them were actually on Kindle Unlimited. So, you know,
Really?
I
Okay.
didn't get scammed out of that. And they were really good stories for the most part, but they were the same old, same old. You know, like guy says, our girl, whatever, is horrible to the girl, and makes fun of them, belittles them, everything. But then fate puts them together, makes them mates. Oh, everything I did in the past is okay. So yes,
Ah,
Annalie, my female main character, has had some problems, but never out of her mate. It's always been family issues, you
I
know.
see.
And I just wanted something different. And somebody looked at me and said, we were sitting there having lunch, why don't you write your own story? And I laughed so
Oh.
hard. I was like, me, right? Yeah, right. And I
So,
did.
so you're kind of, were you a reader before you fell into those apps, or was that kind of your falling into reading?
Yes and no. The first book that I ever got into reading, and this was some years back, probably my senior year of high school, was Twilight. I'm obsessed
Ah.
with Twilight. You might even see some Twilight stuff up on this wall. But that's what
um.
got me into it. And then the Divergent series. So that's where I actually started reading.
Oh.
And I actually had an English teacher that got me into reading like those Mary Higgins Clark's novels. So technically, but I never read a whole lot. I would read maybe
Oh
one or
wow.
two series a year. But
I
then I started,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry. Then I started getting some, you know, new ideas with Kindle Unlimited and reading those. And I just got into fantasy real big.
Very nice. I actually Oh, well, I was a big Lovecraft and Edgar Allan Poe fan, but then I got into Anne Rice real hard. I was at the time a lot of people were into Twilight. I was hardcore into Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles more than anything. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
really what influences my writing. So, do you feel like what you've read has kind of like the things that you were passionate like Twilight? Do you feel like that has some influences on your writing now?
I absolutely think that it does. Whether it be consciously or subconsciously, it's just my favorite series to go back. And I believe Veronica Roth with Divergent series even had something to do with it, because,
Mm.
you know, here we are in a world to where Annalie doesn't belong, kind of like, you know, Veronica and Trish with the whole Divergent thing. But um, there's, I wouldn't say exact similarities, but there's definitely some type of inspiration from all of that that I enjoy reading. And there's a independent author I got into, Jessica Hall, and she wrote the Faded series, and I
Mm.
got real big into that series.
Very nice. Well, so can you tell me a little about the sequel that I hear you got coming up to? What can you tell us
Yes,
about
yes.
that?
So I'm actually started writing it again. Before I actually finished and edited When Fate Collides, I actually was, I wouldn't say getting tired of it, but you look at your own work so much in the editing phase and you're like, this is getting on my
Oh
nerves.
yeah.
And so I would have to like, I actually wrote a kid lit book called Wobbles. It's completely finished. I have to actually find illustration for it. But that's what I did during writer's block. And when I got tired, and then I was like, well, I want to continue my Annalia Mason story. So I got to thinking, and it's actually titled When Truth Collides because I wanted the titles to be similar. Like I have When Fate Collides, the first book, When Truth Collides, the second book, and I've even gotten a third book title because I know the direction I'm going will be When Justice Collides
Ah, that's
for my
cool.
third book.
Yeah, all my stuff.
So,
All right, guys, here's a short commercial break, and then we'll get right back to the interview with April Lynn about her book series. All right. Like
um,
all my stuff is going to be time based. Like the whole universe is called Passing of Time, and then everything else is going to be time. Like
that'd be so
beginning of
cool,
time is
actually.
the origins, and then it goes from there. It's all in eras. But that's
Absolutely. And I can see that. Like, I mean, with Fate, you got her learning about herself, the fate of learning who she, I don't want to give out what she is, but there, she is pretty, there's something that happens that's never been there in centuries. And so she's got that, like, that's fate putting her where she needs to be. And then you have truth of her learning out all the truth
that's
of
cool.
everything, her family's truth, the secret truth, and then you got, like, I'm thinking, maybe a trip to Alaska or something.
That's cool. That's
So the
really
book is actually set in Union Parish, like Darbone and Farmville and Downsville
okay.
area. Everybody said if you write the background settings, like all these little Facebook writing groups, write what you know. And me
Yeah.
not ever really writing or doing a lot of reading, I was like, well, I'll just write Louisiana. I'm like, but I didn't want to be here in Bossier, and then I was like, Lake
Yeah.
Darbone over there. I'm like, I love that area.
There you
So I
go.
took the story and made it real, like factual, but fictional at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. When doing my writing, it's a sci-fi fantasy, not Earth at all. It's like complete.
Awesome.
But I name places like Shreve Isles. It's named out of the Shreve Island neighborhood, and then I have Orlais, which is Orleans, New Orleans, and I got like St. Opelousas, which is a mix of St. Charles and Opelousas mix. So I got names of places, and I kind of take like, I would be like, oh, well, here's this twisted version of this movie or brand, and have a completely, like, Facebook is face novel in our world. It's like different alternate
Right.
versions of reality. So in a way, I was still playing with the same concept of writing what I know, just in a twisted way. But that's really cool that you used an actual parish area and kind of localizes it a bit.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your process. How do you go from planning to actually completing the book?
So I have learned a lot. I've done a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of like TikTok indie writers. I've learned like kind of like the lingo of writing. You have plotters and pantsers, and I guess I've always been a pantser where I'm just like flying off the seat of my pants. It kind of writes itself, I swear, some days. But then now it's ironic because now that I'm on book two, I'm sitting here and I'm going through my book. I'm like, okay, so how did I put this? I want to make sure, and I'm sitting here outlining it. But I'll find anything, and I'll get my little. I have the Word document I write in Microsoft Word. It's the easiest. I even transfer it to Google Docs sometimes, but I'll sit there and I'll have a little outline like, oh, this will be cool. This will be cool. And I'll just come back and at the end of the day, if I'm weird. I have to write in chronological order. I can't write out of order. I know some people can, and I envy you guys if y'all can do that because that's amazing. But I got to go from literally the beginning to the end, and
Oh,
I'll
that's
be stuck there until I figure it out.
I mean, I can understand why you get stuck in that. Like it's kind of like then you're kind of having to make sure you have a web of planning if you're trying to skip eras and go back, and then
Yes, yes, yes,
everything
yes,
you want to keep you want to keep consistency in your story. So it's not surprising that
yes.
you're having to look at all the plot points you were going because like you said, you wrote fly by, and now you're like, now I got to make sure everything works. And now it has to all be planned because if it because you don't want to accidentally miss something that you wrote in before.
Absolutely. And it's kind of funny. I listen to music like it'll be on random shuffle. Like I like 90s country is my favorite, 80s and 90s, and it's really funny because my Mel's main character, he's 17 years old as well. But you would think he was a 60-year-old farmer guy, because he'd rather be working the lands and he likes 70s and 80s country. And so I made a playlist of just straight up Mason's playlist and I'll be jamming to it. But then I'll have like some other stuff about like No Doubt or something just randomly pop up and I'll be like, huh, okay, I guess that's what we're doing.
Well, that kind of probably
But
puts you in the mindset of the characters and stuff while
yeah,
you're writing. You kind of
it does. Yes.
so you kind of immerse yourself a little bit in like
Yes.
to kind of really write. Do you ever visualize anything when you write, or do you? Some people don't have that ability to visualize. I was curious if you do or not.
I do actually. And when I was writing, I had all my characters visualized. And one thing that I never caught in my own book when I was editing it, a beta reader actually caught it. And she says, did you know that you don't have any descriptive characteristics on your characters? And I'm like, yes, I do. I know what they're supposed to look like. So I went back and I was like, huh, I guess I left that out.
It's
And
because
I
you
was
visualized
visualizing
them. You didn't think
them.
about
Absolutely.
describing them. Yeah.
And I was visualizing them.
I'm a role player. That's how I started writing. Was doing text based role play for friends. I was hosting stories for them, and then basically I had to get in. I got in the habit of super describing to them everything that I was visualizing because I'm a visual artist. So for me, it's easy to picture those things. And I was
Right.
curious. I was curious if for you it was like that or not. But that's cool.
Yes.
Do you see like them in almost animated ways or realistic? when you
More
picture them.
realistically, like human, I
Okay.
can now when they shift, even though I don't have it much in the book, it does talk about maybe them going on a run or something. I have it whole visualized, kind of like new moon, I guess, when they shift.
Okay.
So, just because that's kind of the first thing I thought of, like, well, I want them to like actually, and some people might say they're kind of like split personalities or multiple personalities because my characters, inner wolves, they have their names like Bernard and Blair, but you hear Blair, she's like completely opposite of Annalie. She's like nothing but full of sass and sarcastic attitudes, So, I can even visualize her like when she comes out. It's so cool.
Nice. All right, that's cool. So, what advice would you give to somebody who's wanting has an idea or has thought about writing, and what advice would you give them to help them on the path to actually doing their own book?
Just sit down and write. It doesn't matter if you're writing on your phone, even if you just want to send yourself a text message or an email or something. Just write whatever idea you have down and play with it. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to. I mean, when I first wrote, it looked like a long, like 300-page essay. Like, I did not have the dialogue sex. I did not know how to write that properly.
Yeah.
So if you got to write it in paper and essay format and figure it out as you go, then that's cool too. Just get that story on that because somebody out there deserves to hear it and wants to hear it.
Oh. So that, that's what a draft's for, man. You can go through several drafts, but at least start it, right? You know?
Right.
Do the
Yes.
corrections and worry about all the extra detail later.
Yes. And the whole editing is a nightmare.
No.
Microsoft Word has a really good tool. It's the audio tool. It sounds very weird, but the first time I listened to my work, it was like cringe work. I was like, I mean, I thought it was I was like, hey, this is a cool story. But at the same time, I'm like, this sounds good. But it was literally like a paper, like you're writing an essay paper. I'm like, but how do I get this into story format, to where it
Yeah.
sounds like a story? And that took a lot of research on mine because I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah, I think Stephen King was just said something along the lines of writing so it's not write the words that are easy and simple to write, clear and concise, so it's more like your hat like when you read it, it comes out easier. It's easier for
Right.
people to digest than
Absolutely.
overcomplicated words. Yeah.
And even when we talk, like just a talking conversation, face to face or whatever, and that's even different than having an actual story format.
Well,
And you think, no, it's the same, but it's not.
it really isn't. It really isn't. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. How can someone uh, follow you on social media and maybe buy your book wherever? Where can they
So
find that?
actually, my right now, it's only available on Amazon. I have the physical copies. They're $13.99 on Amazon. And the Kindle Unlimited, if you have that as a monthly thing, you can get that, borrow that. And I do have from the 6th to the 10th of November, the actual ebook will be free for a promotional thing. But
Oh,
outside of that, it's $3.99. It's all on my author page, which is through Amazon. You can just look up When Fate Collides or When April Lynn. And then I have a Facebook page. It's April Lynn Storyteller, and a TikTok that doesn't get many views, but that's okay. I like making them.
okay. Well,
And
I'll definitely have to link all that in the article that I'll be writing with
yeah,
about this. So, all right. Is there anything else you would like to say to our viewers?
thank you guys for the support from the community the first week. It was amazing, and I'm just beyond thrilled and excited, and I can't wait to see what else comes next.
All right. Well, if you need to connect with any artists, for your illustrations, there's plenty out there. Let me know. I can connect you to a few.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
I
Well,
appreciate you for having me.
no problem. Thank you so much for, staying and talking to me. And when you release your next book, let me know and we can have another conversation about that.
Yes. Great. Great. Great.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you. All right, guys. So that was my interview with April Lynn, a Haughton fantasy writer. She self-taught herself and has published her first book, and is looking to publish two or three others in this series. So yeah, congratulations, April, for your new publication, and also. Guys, this is that event, the Meet the Artist. If you wanted to chance to buy one of her books. She's going to have a few on the site for you to buy. If you already bought it, come get your book signed and meet her and have a conversation with her. If you're, an artist, writer wanting to get started, I'm sure she'll have a great conversation with you about her path. I mean, anyone can write. It just takes the time and, a little bit of teaching. And as we know, the internet's there and there's a lot of education to be had there. You can almost learn anything there. All right. So again, that's Saturday, 11 a.m. at PJ's Coffee. You can also follow her as April Lynn Storyteller on Facebook if you want to follow her. All right. Also, guys, if you want to follow me on Facebook, I often share events and post my own art here. You can follow me. Look up Brittney Hazelton or Sysica, Sysica there, and you can find my Facebook page there. I Additionally, you can find more of my articles on KSLA.com under the podcast section and ArkLaTex Artistry. You can find more of our stuff on Roku, Apple, TV apps, YouTube. If you if you go to YouTube and check out our playlists, look up ArkLaTex Artistry. I have over 100 something videos in that, and you can learn about all kinds of artists in the ArkLaTex right there on YouTube. Interviews with so many different artists, and I try to do them every week when I can. And yeah, you can learn a lot about some great artists across the ArkLaTex generally, especially ones in Shreveport or Bossier, because we have a large concentration of artists here. All right, guys. Thank you again for stopping in and watching ArkLaTex Artistry. I'll be re-airing this one Saturday at noon. And I'll see you again, guys, Wednesdays at 11 and Saturdays at noon. All right. Take care.